Hey everyone, so I've given you some literature on the Colombian conflict. I don't like the word civil war because I'm very incredulous about anything being a civil war. Even when you look at, say, the revolution where we defeated, woohoo, the Brits. I mean, if it weren't for the Battle of Saratoga and bringing the French into it, would have we won, right? Even the UK got involved in the US Civil War, etc. So I'm a little incredulous about the word civil war, but I have used it. You're gonna read peer-reviewed. I wrote, sorry, that I authored, and I think it's kind of important to understand this is somewhat of a civil war, right? And the US was really, really involved. Some were trained in Cuba, etc., the guerrilleros. Now, what's a guerrillero? These are non-state actors trying to overthrow a government, right? So you start to develop within this, situation, and it was Latin America's longest civil war, different groups. Now, this is the data set you will be using. So this is how they would do a peer review. Now, as you remember in that article by Farron, where he's like, well, we don't have the data for civil conflict, or he says civil war, but now we do. I got this data set and I cleaned it up from this group, this NGO, non-governmental organization in Colombia, and they did amazing work at collecting the data of victims in the civil war. Some are guerrilla, paramilitary, and fuerza. Now, you could line these up how you want, but the point here is the fuerza, which is force in Spanish, is the either military or police. They're killing people, right? Paramilitaries are a paramilitary group, right? And they essentially, are kind of linked to the military, not completely. They're very independent, but they're usually against the guerrillas. And the guerrillas with the FARC, ELN, etc., these are groups trying to overthrow the government. I just named it all guerrilla. So you have three groups here in this data set. So you have the guerrilla, which is the kind of non-state actor group trying to overthrow the government, right? Which we have all throughout the world. Then you have paramilitaries. These groups start springing up against the guerrillas. Let's say the guerrillas go and, start taking their chickens or, something like that, or cows, etc. So they start arming themselves and they develop into pretty strong paramilitaries. The outer defenses of Mexico now, the self-defense groups are like paramilitaries to defend their family, their homes, their farms from the narcotraficantes, the narcos. So then you've got, right, the Fuerza, that's a group. I put it in exact order, so you can do it like this, etc. That is linked to the government. Now, so you have type is your independent variable, and victims here are your dependent variable. Because this fuerza, right, and paramilitaries, and then, right, the guerrilla, we're going to see if one of these groups is more inclined to be killing more victims, right, than the other. So is Fuerza more statistically significant, say, to kill groups, that is the military and the military police, have more victims than, say, the guerrilla or the paramilitaries, etc.? Are they statistically significant, like you've been learning? Because according to Farron, right, there's theory out there that if they're not statistically significant, they're killing at the same rate, that this would continue the war because there's not one group decimating another. So what you're going to do is you're going to take this data set, right? People, you don't have to really pay attention to all this, but I wanted to keep it there because this is how they're getting the information from different, like Boletín, Justicia, etc., like different newspapers, sources. So, and these are the dates, etc. So it's going back to like 1980. So you have a lot of information. So what you're going to do is with the regular LM function, linear model, you're going to see if there is a statistical significance between people, right, on how many victims are being killed. So you're going to use the LM function, right? Then you're going to see the results, interpret the results, and see also if you can graph it. And we're just going to do the linear modeling right now in order to see if these are statistically significant. Okay, so this is a little challenge here. See if you can do it. And that's how these papers get started, because if it's not statistically significant, maybe this is why the war lasted so long, is that the killing rate essentially was the same between these groups. Even if one group is killing more people than the other, is it really statistically significant? Like you might have more paramilitary, so they're killing more people, but at the same time, it's only because there's more of them. It's still not statistically significant. So try that. You're going to run that data. You're going to post the results, and then you're going to post a ggplot plot. You're going to generate these visualizations and show it in the discussion board. Take care, everyone. Good luck.